Turning photos into impressionistic art is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Now, today's episode was inspired by a good friend of mine, Richard. He's part of our Facebook group, and he's an extremely talented photographer and graphic artist. Let me show you what he did. So here he is. This is Richard. And if you want to follow him on Facebook, or join us on our Facebook group, the Luminar Photography group, look at this stuff. How amazing is this? And I reached out to him, made sure that he was okay with me showing these. And I love what he did. And what's really cool is that I can actually spot his images while I'm on Facebook. I'm scrolling through fast, boom, I can spot his right away. That shows you that that he's created a special style that's recognizable. And that's always something we could work towards. Now, what's neat is he did use overlays and textures from our good friends, Carly Sullins, and with Anthony, and he found those on Luminar Marketplace. And right now, there is the 4-year anniversary going on. So if you're going to get anything on our Luminar Marketplace, now is the time to do that, because some of those overlays, presets, and even the Luminar, what was the other one? The courses and stuff that are on there, you can get those at a very, very strong discounted rate. Now, let me just dive right in. I'm really excited about this. Now, this was the original one you saw in the promo. That's what we did with it. Well, just before the show started, I started practicing with this one, and I love it even more. So I'm going to do what most people, most content creators suggest you don't do, and that's do something without practicing, because I want to show you how easy this is. Now, I did make a preset. Now, what's neat is Carly and Anthony's overlays and stuff that I used will be included in this. So once you purchase them, you can create your own presets using their overlays or their textures, and it'll save it with your preset. So let me show you what I did here. Here's a preset, and then I'm going to go back and we're going to do it individually. All right. So here it is. I made one called Flower Paint 2, Flower Paint way, and this is what it came up with. Right now, to make it look even better, then from here, we're going to enhance it a little bit further. But I do want to show you right now, I don't have anything other than the overlays and the textures that Carly and Anthony did. All right. So here's one, soft textures. This one here is painted hollow and then thick gesso. Now, how do you do that? Well, you click on the plus icon. Now, from here, they're already included in my collection. Here's all of them. But if I didn't have them here, what you would do is this. You click the plus icon. Now, where do you save them? Well, first of all, if you go to the marketplace, and let's say you purchase them or you found them online, well, you have to store them somewhere that you'll remember easily where they are. And I've said this so many times, put them in one location. I have them where all my photos live. Underscore photography. I do underscore because it just shoots it to the top. Then I have assets. Under assets, I have everything, even for my Adobe stuff. Adobe Camera Raw, there's backgrounds. I have all these here, overlays, textures. Well, here we are with the textures. Now, once you get the textures, all they really are is JPEGs or PNGs. You could use those in other programs too. So here is where I have it stored. Now that I have it there, you just select which one you want. If you need to look at it on Windows, I just tell it to view. Now I can see what it looks like. And then click open, and then it'll appear over here. Now, if you have too many, like this here, I could just right click and say remove. Boom. Or I can clear, here's my nephew, show in Explorer. And what's going to happen on this side, it actually shows you where all of them are located. And on Windows, it's under Luminar Neo Data, Textures, Custom. Well, here at this point, what I could do is just say, okay, you know what? I don't use these anymore. I could just select all of these, delete. I don't use these anymore. Good buddy Bart, select, delete. Same thing with all of these here. Oh, we'll get rid of me too. Delete. So you see how you can organize them much better going through this way. All right. Otherwise, what you'd end up doing is right click and delete individually. That's entirely up to you. So now I showed you how to install it, how to find them, now how to apply it. So get back to my layers. So now that I made this into a preset, and again, you just come down here and then save as a preset, name it, and you're good to go. All right. Now, at this point, don't do any masking, because if you mask, that mask stays with that preset, and that's not what we want. Hit enter. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my edit. So now that I have it where we have it all set, and hopefully you understand how I did all that. Now is where the creativity gets in. And I'm sure Richard will tell you this is where the fun comes in. Ready? I'm going to click on the bottom layer. That's the flower. So what I need to do is enhance that. So I'm going to come in and look at this. I'm going to let Enhance AI do its magic for me. All right, now look. So it's not affecting any of these textures. And by the way, the textures, I use soft light, hard light, and soft light. Again, you just experiment. So let's say in this case here, here's hard light. Well, this is what it looks like normal, darken, multiply. Ooh, not bad. All right, color burn. Oh, that's pretty cool too. Overlay. But you know what? I'm going to keep hard light for this. So you just experiment with the overlays. But now the bottom here is I just want to make this a little bit sharper. So like we already saw, here's edits. Think of that as your history. All right. I did enhance. That's the only thing I did. Now, what I want to do is come down to develop. And look what I did here. I upped the contrast. Took care of the highlights. Brought the shadows down. Let's increase the black. Yeah, just a little bit here. All right. Now that I did that, let's see what it looks like. Well, that's shaping up good. All right, let's add some structure to this. And then you can decide, where do I want that structure to be? Oh yeah, look at that. I actually like it all over. And maybe a little bit too much is here. So mask, paint, erase. Maybe I want to erase it just a little bit around here. And notice the strength isn't at 100%. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit more. Let's get rid of that right around the edge. There we go. I'm going to add it back just a little bit again. There we go. And this is your artistic side. You decide if something doesn't look right, you can adjust it. There we go. I didn't like that little edging. All right, so let's see what it looks like here. Ready? Before, after. Ooh, it's already taken shape. Now, I'm going to take it a step further. Let's come down here to super contrast. Let's see what this, look what this is doing for me. There we go. Midtones. Midtones are okay. What about the shadows? Let's see, balance it out. Yeah, look what the shadow is doing in here. So this is similar to your dodge and burn, but you're doing it on a global scale. All right. So let's see. Yeah, look at that. Look at the difference. Now let's try color harmony. Remember, I'm just doing this for feel. And any artist will tell you that when you start designing things, it's not always going to come out identical every time because your mood changes. And that's okay. Now, the base of it is going to look great because we made it into a preset. But if I were to restart over and do this all over again, I may make different changes to it. That's okay. You're the artist. You decide what you like. Now, from here, I'm not going to mess with the split color warmth, but I am going to come in color contrast. Let's see what this is going to do for me. Yeah, right about there. Look at that. Brilliance, maybe? A little too much. Let's see if it makes a difference. Yeah, look at that right there. Look what color harmony is doing. All right, now, let's work with the shadows. I know that when I did do the shadows here, I didn't like this. I'm going to leave that to 0. But I am going to mess with a little bit of this, the magenta and green. Let's see the violet, or yellow and blue. What about there? All right, let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, and now let's tie it all in together. Let's use a little vignette. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let's go back to Enhance. And I'm going to bring it out just a little bit more. But I only want it, use a radial gradient, I only want it on the flower. Let's see what that does. Yeah, look how it's making that flower jump a little bit more. All right, so now that we have it set, I want to add a nice vignette. But if I add a vignette at this stage, it's only going to apply it to the flower. So instead, I'm going to select all of these, and I clicked on the bottom one, and then held the Shift key down and clicked on the top, and I selected it. This merging of the layers is going to take a couple seconds because it's taking everything that we just did on that one layer, and now it has to apply all of those edits that we just did, make a copy of it, and then merge all of those together. Now, the neat thing about this, it's non-destructive. So at any point, I can go back, and I still have my originals. So here it is. I got that layer. Now, when I apply the vignette, it's going to apply it to the entire image and not just the flower. Let's go to an extreme. This is what it's going to look like. It's an extreme. I want it right about there. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now let's dial it back. And remember, we've always said about vignetting, if somebody says, wow, that's a beautiful vignette, then you know you went too far. All right, it should be subtle. Now, the inner light's going to play a big role. That's extreme. We don't want that. What about there? All right, let's see it. Here it is. Now, watch how it draws your eye to the flower. There we go. Let's dial it back just a little. What about there? Here we have it. Beautiful. Now, keep in mind, like these areas up in here, if you didn't like that texture, or let's say the texture is going over a person's face, find it in the layer over here, and then just erase it. And when you erase it with the erase tool, it'll take proximity. It'll try to match it and move. Because sometimes when you're doing this on a person, you may get this crease going across their face. Just go in and erase it on that layer. All right? So let's do the reveal. We'll do both ways. Ready? So here we are. Nice image. Oh, but look at that. Normal, Richard. All right? That's what I like. And again, I can't thank Richard enough for inspiring me. Want to do this. And I think that would look great hanging on a wall. I think that would look really great on a nice canvas print with a nice motivational quote, and hanging it onto the wall itself. And it's just something you can work on from there. All right? Now, before I forget, we have a special survey for you because your voice matters. People like Richard and Dale and Carl and the rest of the team that watch Coffee Break, they give their input on surveys like this. And what that does is our team reviews it and they try to think, well, what's best or what can we add to Luminar Marketplace to help people become more creative? So your voice matters. When you have time, please fill out that survey. Once again, here it is. There's that survey. You can either scan that QR code or the link is right there. You'll see it where it starts with L for luminar.skylum.com and then your voice matters. All right. And one more thing, this right here, practical edits. Because I listened to you after Luminar Coffee Break, a lot of them were saying, well, there's only one or two of those. And I know I have 12 that I created, they want to binge watch them. So I released all of them all at once, and then later we'll start adding the articles that go along with it so you can see it. But if you want to see more of quick practical edits, you're welcome to check that out. And then soon I'm going to include my friends, Jim Nix, Anthony, Carly, Hazel, Darlene. I'm going to have them give their quick edits where it's under maybe a minute to 2 minutes max. So little quick tips that you can do will help you. That's where that survey comes in, where you can answer what other instructors do you want to hear from. All right? Well, I hope that was great for you guys. Now, if you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.